how I lost 70 pounds over the course of about 8 months. So first off, there's so many caveats that go into this of like, the timeline really doesn't matter, because for me, I'm still like trying to wrap my mind around it, but I'm saying that the timeline doesn't matter because of the fact that everybody loses weight at different speeds. So don't go like, I want to lose X number of pounds in X number of days. Like, don't do that to yourself, please. I beg you. I am a fitness instructor, and I've researched so much over the years and gotten certifications and like all these things over the years. And it's been a struggle of mine, even though I knew all these things, but because there were so many like emotional, and I knew it was an emotional thing, like, but whenever I ate, it was because I was hungry. It was never because it was like, oh, I'm feeling sad, or I'm like dealing with, it was not never, but almost never, because I was like feeling a certain way. I wasn't like, oh, I'm sad, so I want ice cream. Like, it was never like that. And like, not to say that you can't do that on occasion, because you definitely can. And that's the thing. That is my two biggest things are focusing on whole foods, eating pretty much whatever I want, just focusing on whole foods, and exercise, not being miserable, actually really enjoying what I'm doing. And anybody can do those two things. So there's a lot more that goes into it than that, but those two things are huge components that absolutely anybody can do at any point in their journey, and they are very, very, very attainable. And the thing with that is that actually sets you up for success, because if you're focused on eating more whole foods and having fun exercising, if you fall off, one, you don't feel like you really fell off of anything because you loved doing it. And two, when you do fall off or whatever, you want to go back because you liked doing it so much. And that's the thing. Like, if you make lifestyle changes that you absolutely hate, you're not going to stick to it. Of course you're not. And then there are some people who are like, discipline. No, we are human beings. And yeah, there are times where we have to push ourselves to do certain things. And there are times where it's tricky because we have to figure out what we actually need, because there are also times where we need to just start doing the thing to get the motivation, and then there are times where we do really need the motivation to start, because otherwise it becomes this thing that is just dread, and who wants to be dreading everything they do every day? Because we already have enough things. So many of us, especially in our America, so many of us hate our jobs. And I'm so thankful to be in a place where I'm a full-time content creator and fitness instructor and singer. And so, like, I absolutely love what I do. I chose it, and I couldn't be more thankful, because I've had so many miserable jobs. The last job that I was in, I was so miserable I almost died. It was, and like, there was just like so many, I had so many health issues because I was so miserable. I couldn't combat and take care of myself, and the weight was an issue, and just all these different things. So like, if you're adding something that, if your life is already high stress, maybe you have a family, maybe you have grandkids, maybe you have school, whatever it is, you already are stressed out, and then you have a job that maybe you don't like, or maybe it's really stressful, or whatever it is, and you're spending almost all your time in that, and then you have to like squeeze in a workout and try to figure out how in the world to eat healthy and on a budget. Usually trying to do all of that seems so overwhelming, because how it's presented to how most fitness influencers and a lot of personal trainers, even I love personal trainers. That's like, I love, because, you know, I'm in the fitness field, and personal training is something that I've done. I'm not currently doing it, but I have done in the past, and I would do again. I just need to recertify because I hadn't used it in a while. And all these things. So it's something that is, we are on, right? Hold on. Ignore the mess. I test out a lot of things for TikTok. I'm messy. Anyways. I didn't see the light on the microphone. I tried to plug it in so the light's towards me so I can tell if it's on or not, but it wasn't this time. It's turned the other way. Anyways, so that's something that really bugs me. Like, I am against Jillian Michaels. There, I said it, and I will say it again. I'm against Jillian Michaels and anybody like her. I cannot stand that mindset, and it sets everybody up for failure. Not everybody. There's a few people that do well with that type of motivation, but the vast majority of us don't do well with that. And so that's why the thing is, like, the two huge components are focusing on eating more whole foods. So like chicken and fish and like, if you only have the budget to get McDonald's that day, like, do it. If you only have the budget to, which McDonald's I think is getting expensive, so I don't even know if that's a very fair comparison, but you get what I would mean. If you only have the budget to like do a tuna pouch and some green beans or something one day, like, do whatever you can. And frozen vegetables, fruits and vegetables are amazing because they're frozen typically frozen shortly after they're picked, so they keep in that freezing process keeps in a lot of the nutrients. So sometimes that's even better than just fresh produce. Whatever you have the budget for, you can do it. And it's because it's not just like saying like, I'm gonna eat completely clean. Like, it's not like the Whole30 diet or keto or Atkins or whatever it is that you have to spend a whole bunch of money on. And juice cleanses, I highly don't recommend those because, one, it's naturally we were designed to eat our minerals, vitamins and minerals and all other nutrient proteins and all those things. So drinking them, like, our body was never meant to do that. And if you do juice cleanses, fine. I am not going to stop you. I am not going to say you're doing a horrible thing. That is not my point here. My point here is sometimes, like, influencers, fitness in particular, influencers like to push these things down your throat, and it's like, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And my big problem with the juice cleanses is, if you're diabetic, don't do them. Do not do them. Talk to your doctor. They will probably tell you the same thing, but do not do a juice cleanse if you are diabetic, because juice can actually be worse than a candy bar. Like, you should just eat the candy bar if that's what you want to do, because it has so much sugar in it. Fruits and vegetables have sugar in them, and if you just eat them, no big deal. But if you juice them, you're having to use a lot more of that. So if you make a thing of apple juice, whereas if you were going to eat an apple, you would just eat the one apple and you would be done. Amazing. If you make a little glass of apple juice, you're putting 8 to 10 apples in there. I don't even know how much it takes to fill a glass. It's a lot. 8 to 10 apples in there to make a glass of apple juice. And so you're getting 8 to 10, even 5 times the amount of sugar that you would if you would just eat one apple. So that is where my big problem is. It's just, our society as a whole just has so much sugar added to so many of our foods that juice cleanses, I'm like, most of us don't need to do those. And if you, like I said, if you're doing it and you're loving it, not speaking anything against you, I'm just saying most of us, it's probably not going to be the most beneficial thing. Plus, for me, I think that this is a lot of people too. Like, if I'm just drinking some juice, for one, like, I do not feel satiated, and two, I don't feel like I had a meal at all, and it feels very much like an eating disorder. And like, if the eating disorder road is something that you could potentially or have struggled with, I really, really don't recommend doing. And talk to your dietitian, talk to a dietitian about all this if this is something you're interested in, or a psychologist even, because those two things go hand in hand. Therapist, psychologist, whatever. There's so many different help. Oh my gosh, so many different titles. There we go, of people that like go hand in hand with this. And so just like, if that's something you're interested in, I'm not saying don't ever do it. Like, do what you want. Like, I'm not sitting here, and I am not a doctor either, so I'm not sitting here giving you medical advice either. I'm just saying, be aware of these things. And so like, so all these dieting things, like I've never been on board and I've never wanted to do them. And like supplements, all that stuff, the supplements, the diet supplements and diet pills, diet teas, diet XYZ are all garbage. Don't come at me with anything because I will just tell you it's garbage. Because here's the thing, maybe, okay, most of them just don't do anything. And then the few that do, you might lose some weight while you're taking them. But here's the thing, you still are doing the same patterns you were before. And so if you still have those same habits, you're just going to go right back to where you were, if not worse, usually worse than you were before as far as weight goes. Because yeah, sure, you lose weight while you're taking the thing, whatever, it suppresses your appetite while you're taking it. And then as soon as you get off, you have no tools to actually deal with regular life. It didn't do anything to really help you deal with day-to-day life. And it's not something you should really be on forever. So once you get off of it, then you actually gain all the weight back and then some. So this is why I'm like, and those success stories you see, like I said, like you lose weight on some of them, and it is successful in the moment, but it's not successful long term. So it's just it's just not a road that's worth taking. And this is why you don't see me partnering or even doing reviews, because I do tons of reviews on TikToks. This is why you do not see me doing any that are herbal slimming teas or herbal supplements for weight loss or supplements at all in general, because there's so many of them. The FDA hasn't gotten in there to like regulate anything, and so it's really, I'm not totally against supplements, because there are times that we need stuff, extra things like like I know I lack magnesium, so I have to do certain things, but like there's just so much out there that's left to interpretation that isn't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have anybody saying like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. And so they could just be putting literal just sugar in a pill and saying this is going to help with XYZ, and no one would ever know the difference. So, and like, I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but there's so many, because they know they can make money off of it. But like all of the weight loss products, I just, as soon as I see the word weight loss, I'm like, goodbye. I've had so many brands reach out to me. I had one reach out to me today. It started, I see that you're interested in weight loss. And I go, I don't know where you saw that. I didn't even read the rest, but I was just like, I don't know where you saw that, because that's not true. And whatever you're offering, I don't want any part of it, because they're just so, and this is why you just won't see me promoting that stuff. And it's just like, ugh, they just drive me crazy in general. It's wow. Now, fitness equipment, sure, I'll test it out, whatever. A lot of it you don't need, but if you want to use it, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll test it. But like the weight loss stuff, typically I stay far away from that stuff. Side note, okay, by the way, this background, the next video, or maybe 2 videos from now, you're going to see a different background, because I'm getting things to make this better. I'm getting a couple things to make this better. So that was a full side note. Anyways, so one of the big things that for me personally, besides focusing on having fun, so things that I do are like hiking, swimming, my aqua classes, like all of those things there. And I take so many classes at the gym, and I like to try a variety of different things. And some weeks, like when the weather changed, well, first of all, I sprained my ankle. And so that caused me to have to adjust to the point where I couldn't take my regular like any of the classes that were my regular classes, and I could only do I was doing water fitness and I was doing yoga. Otherwise I could walk sometimes, like go for like hikes, well, not hikes, but like if it was just like a walk, I could do that sometimes. But I was having to be really careful, and the weather changed at the same time, and the winter is just hard for me in general, and I think that's a lot of people. I didn't really realize it, and maybe it just changed over the years, but I didn't really realize it until a few years ago. But because of that, my schedule has slowed down as far as like fitness activities. That, and I was teaching regular classes, but now I'm just subbing for both of the places that I work. If you don't know, I work in two different gyms. One's with a hospital, and one is just a traditional gym. But like, I'm just subbing at both places right now, and so between all of that, my fitness stuff slowed down a lot. However, I never stopped, and it slowed down. So I wasn't like working out at athlete level. I was just like working out at normal level, which was like, that's not where I function the best. I function better being more active. I didn't have the energy or just capacity to do it for so long, so long, because just life got to me. And that's something I dealt with a lot of. I went through a lot of inner healing stuff and just healed a lot from my past. And I've been to therapy and read so many books and journaled and done all of these things to deal with mental health and emotional healing and all these things. So over the last like 15 years, and I knew I could, with everything that I was learning, I could feel that the way, like, my food issues were emotional. It was never a thing that I was consciously eating because I was emotional. I was always eating because I felt hungry. And back in like February, March, April, somewhere in there, is when the weight loss started, because then it was like all of the sudden my brain caught up to all that healing that I've been doing, and it was like, oh, I know what body cues are now. And I could suddenly feel, because like before everything just felt like hunger, or tired, but like a lot of things just felt like hunger, and so I just felt hungry all the time, and there was no real differentiating different cues, like when I had emotions that I didn't realize that needed to be dealt with. Those would typically just pile up, and then all of a sudden one day something would trigger it and I would have a meltdown. Like that, and that was not the case now. Like now I could tell the difference between, oh, I'm actually hungry, and oh, I have an emotion that I need to deal with, and oh, no, I'm actually tired, I'm not even hungry. Or no, I'm not hungry, my body just hasn't moved in a while and it's telling me. Because before they all kind of felt the same. And there's no describing the feeling until you've just experienced it, because I thought that I knew what body cues were, or I could feel my body cues before all of this, until it suddenly switched, and I was like, oh, no, I couldn't. And so for me, that was a huge factor, and that's how I lost it so fast, because losing 70 pounds over the course of 8 months is still pretty healthy, but it's pretty fast. And that's why, is because the emotional aspect of it, like the mental health aspect of it, was in such a better place. I had tools to deal with things. I have tools to deal with things now. And so like that's a huge component for me. And this is part of why I'm like, you cannot compare weight loss time frames of anybody else, because our bodies lose it differently, and if we're holding on to all these emotions, the stress is higher and it's harder to lose weight, and there are health issues that affect that as well, and just there's so many things that affect how fast we lose weight and whether or not we lose weight. So that is why, like, when I'm talking to people, normally I tell them, don't focus on that number on the scale, don't even make a weight loss number a goal, because if you're doing things to improve your overall health, you're probably going to be doing things that are just going to be like, weight loss will just be a side effect of that, and that's fine, that's great. If you need to lose weight, like, it's totally fine to like want that, but if you make that your focus, it sets you up to end up, and I've even fallen trap into this so many times, and I know this, but like, it sets you up to be disappointed and to have these highs and lows, to be on this emotional roller coaster. Because what happens is every day, when we eat, when we drink, when we sleep, when we exercise, it makes our weight go up or down, and it's like a couple of pounds every day. And sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't see it. But like, if you have 1 week where you're X number, and then a week later you're 2 pounds heavier, and suddenly you're like, oh man, and I just, for the last 5 weeks, saw myself go down 1 pound every single week, and now all of a sudden I'm 2 pounds heavier. That can cause such an emotional uproar. Like, I think it's good if you don't have any sort of disorders that would hinder this into being unhealthy. I think it's good to step on the scale to track the progress, because sometimes if you lose a lot of weight, or even a little bit of weight, you think that you're not making progress, and then if you see the number on the scale, you're like, wait, actually, that's not true at all. I'm making progress. So I think it's good to like have that check-in, be like, no, this is where I actually am. Or like, if we're lying to ourselves and telling ourselves we're doing really good and we're not actually doing so good, and it's like, oh, I've actually gained 5 pounds, I'm not doing as good as I thought. It's good to like check in with that too. But it's not good to like beat yourself up because you're 5 pounds heavier either. Like, that's not healthy. And so creating a healthy relationship with food and exercise is something that is going to set you up for success. And it may be really slow, and that's okay. It may take you 8 months to lose 10 pounds, and that's totally fine. It may take you 8 months to even lose 2 or 3 pounds. Totally fine. As long as you're making progress with your health. And I'm not saying like you can't sit there and say you want to lose weight or anything like that. I'm saying if that is your focus, you're probably setting yourself up for failure, because that's oftentimes we get discouraged and just like, oh, we're not making progress anyway, or oh, I gained the weight, so what's the point anyways, I might as well just do whatever I want. And so that's why I'm saying, like, if that's not your, if you want to lose weight, totally fine. But if that's your focus, if that is what you're surrounding everything with, if that's what you're living, all of your lifestyle changes, if that's the point of the reason that you made them, it's probably not going to stick. And if that's the goal, like, it's probably not going to stick. And this is why I think that focusing on the whole foods and focusing on having fun with with whatever exercise you're doing is so important. And you can do so many different things even at home. It doesn't matter your budget. And if you live in a not great area where you don't feel safe walking outside, or you live like next to a highway and like just can't walk around outside, then there's some parks that have like exercise equipment attached to them. You can walk around there. B, you can actually do things at home, like especially if you have stairs, run up and down the stairs sometimes, I don't know, however many times you want. You can take empty water jugs or empty milk cartons or milk jugs or empty laundry detergent containers, fill them with water or rice, and those can be your weights. There's so many things that you can do for free, or if you fare better with accountability, which many of us do, the gym classes are a great place to find that. And I love trying all the different classes. Some of them I don't like, and some of them I love. Like kickboxing, I actually really like that. I haven't been able to do it in about a month and a half though, so I'm excited to be able to start doing some more things now, because my ankle's finally healed. But there's so many different ways to move your body that you can find something you like doing. And like dance, for one, it's just focusing on moving your body and moving your body more than you did before, making progress. Like, those are really good goals. Or like, if you are lifting weights, going from 5 pounds to 10 pounds in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, are great goals. Things like that are great goals and great things to focus on, because then you're not setting yourself up for disappointment. If it's a realistic goal, you're not setting yourself up for disappointment. It's actually really going to encourage you, because you're like, hey, if I met that goal, I can meet another one. I can do this. Sometimes I get a little bit overzealous doing that though, so I have to watch myself. But those are the types of goals that help so much. And like this is why I said that, like, I know that the emotional aspect of things was a huge factor in why I lost it so fast. However, the lifestyle changes that I made really were just focused on eating more whole foods. So I focus a lot on, did I get enough fiber? Did I get enough protein? Because those are two really big ones that I can very much tell affect my body if I don't get enough of one or the other. And focusing on things that I love doing, because then I want to go back to doing them, because like ankle injury, it's like, oh, great, I'm healed. Now I'm ready to go back. And it wasn't just like this whole, I've declined in my progress. What's the point anyways? Because when I've done miserable exercise, because I've been down that road, and it wasn't intentional. This was even with the mindset that I have, but it was, I just get caught up in things and I get hyper focused on things. And so I was basically training like a bodybuilder, eating and training like a bodybuilder. And because it was extreme, it wasn't something that was maintainable. And it was something that it took about a year, but I fell off of it and never wanted to go back. And so that's why I'm saying these like smaller changes and more practical changes and things that like aren't like you're not having to every single day drag your feet to do, set you up for success. And it's a lot more likely you're going to be successful. And there are days where I don't feel like doing it and I do it anyways, and then I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, I forgot, I do like doing this. And then there are days where I don't feel like doing it and I don't, and that's okay. So it's just, and then there are days where I'm like, oh, I haven't done this in a while, but I actually really do like doing that, I should do it again. And then I do it again and I feel so much better. So focusing on that it just changes your habits, it changes your behavior, it changes how you feel, how you present yourself, like all these things. And it's been helping me anyways give myself a lot more compassion. That is something I struggle so much with, is being compassionate towards myself. So I hope this video was helpful and informative and all the things. But if you have questions, let me know. I would be happy to answer them. I love questions. I love you. I believe in you. Dream big, take action. Bye.